From the window to the wall. That's from that era, right? Were we talking about the Cupid Shuffle earlier? No, what was the
Shuffle? No,
what were we talking
about? No. Soldier Boy.
Soldier Boy.
Yeah.
Shoulder Boy.
This spelled like S-O-J-A-U-R or something like that.
S-O-U-J-A or something like that.
Yeah, it's something
Soja. Start calling him Shoulder Boy. He's got like a rotator cuff problem.
Oh, he's sitting dancing like this.
Yeah, right? Like he just ends up screwing up his joints because he's, swinging arms around.
Just think about it. Like
he's aging
40
out.
or 50 years, he'll be doing arthritis commercials and stuff.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I used to dance back in my day, now I can't.
You
Thanks, Aleve, though. I can now do it again. Pop the 3 pills.
Yeah, right. Now I can take Betty to the ball and dance the soldier. Doing what the f*** his dances? I don't know. Stupid.
If you like that,
Super
watch
stupid.
our show.
Yeah, no, watch our show. You can still watch our show because we're really entertaining. Hey, what's going on, everybody?
How's it going?
Welcome to the latest episode of the Mischief Garage. Except if you watch this later on in the future after it's been released, it will not be the latest episode. It will just be an episode, so that will be incorrectly labeled. But it is the latest right now.
And it's a very fun episode. We picked up a new toy.
We did pick up a new toy.
So this is what $80 will buy you.
Hashtag race car.
You could pay for dinner.
You could pay for dinner. You could get a round of golf at a fancy place.
Yeah, you could almost pay for Amazon Prime.
Yeah, no, it's gonna go up. Greedy bastards.
Okay, so you can
check the description for links to the things we purchase.
Yeah.
Whatever. Oh, sure. We might actually do that. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll put Taylor's phone number at the bottom.
Yeah, exactly. You can buy all the $80 cars that get hit and runs, however you say that.
But it does run. It runs.
We've got a running, driving, $80 car underneath our buttocks, and we're going to race the crap out of this thing.
Yeah.
So as you guys saw in the last episode, we attended a meeting for our local ice racing league, so we are super stoked for that. We got this thing back safely. We did a little bit of a heater, and
we found some problems too.
We did find a few problems. We discovered the fuel is slowly disappearing on its own.
It forms a nice puddle
not great.
Right underneath the car.
Yeah, the Saudis will appreciate that because we'll have to buy more gas, but. So yeah, we got a few things to repair. We needed to swap out the door because the door's like literally falling off.
Yeah,
of
it's pretty much non-existent. It's got so much rust.
Ridiculous. I feel like we're gonna be able to pull the skin off of it on our own.
Probably.
So we've got to replace the trunk, remove the trunk. That thing will never close again.
We need to assess the damage from the hit and run.
We do. We got to figure out like what we have to do to actually pull the steel back out.
Yeah, whether it's frame rack or
a tree or tug of war within the vehicle. We'll see.
Yeah.
And then we need to fix that the fuel leak. That seems to be probably the most important.
That's the number
piece.
one thing we should get done
because we need this thing to not start on fire.
Exactly, and we want it to be safe to drive, safe to work on. And we don't want to kill brain cells in the process.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of those left, so I would like to keep the last couple that are making it possible for me to weld. So all of that and then some on this episode of the Mischief Garage.
We get started on this bad boy.
Yep, and I slide down the windshield.
This is
just so slow and pathetic. I made it.
salt that out.
I hope that's salt and not mold.
Well, if it was mold, I think you would know.
That's true.
You're really sensitive to that kind of stuff.
Oh, yummy.
There's all of our bolts and boards.
The top needs to go that way a little bit. I'm trying to be kind of graceful. So yeah, we do have the ECU right there. Floor's a little soft, but it's not terrible. Because what we could always do is tie together, you know, if we do plates on the bottom side, depending upon what's underneath this car, we'd have to worry about the exhaust and the shift linkage. We might be able to actually like tie the two plates together. So that'd be even extra support. But again, that affects ground clearance and that kind of thing. So, you know, there's a lot to determine yet about how to build a cage into it. Otherwise, another option that we do have is to run door bars. So you'd actually weld tube to the outside of the doors. So it's not the best way to do it, but it's what actually the majority of racers are using. So we'll decide. Ideally, we want to do some kind of a cage. So a little bit yet to figure out, but at least we know kind of what we're up against down here. The gas lines do run on that side, so we'll have to figure out
To fix the leak.
where they're. Yes, the leak is terrible. It just reeks right now. One thing we'll have to figure out is like where in relationship to where the floor plate is going to be like welded on or bolted on versus where the brake lines, the gas line, all of that. That might literally be right here, which would be a huge pain in the ass. So, all right. Well, that gives us an idea of what we got going against us here, going for us. Ugh. There's literally black mold under there. Little automotive archaeology. Alright, so now that we've investigated a little bit of what's going on with the Civic, and we've actually figured out that it's leaking from the fuel line itself, so it's pretty rotten. Like, as you guys can tell, this car is pretty rusty as it is, so that definitely got to the fuel lines. So what had happened was when the rear impact occurred, it kind of pushed a few things forward. Probably either jarred it enough to just kind of crack the rusty lines, or it actually moved the gas tank a tiny bit and caused a kink, and then that split it, or whatever. Something along those lines happened, and so it's leaking back there. So we need to replace this entire line. So what we're gonna do, rather than messing around with trying to replace the metal line, we're actually just gonna use a high pressure rubber line the entire way, and then just kind of rebuild a shield underneath the car to keep it safe. So we are up at the fuel filter in the front here, and we're actually going to cut the line leaving us as much of a straight section as possible so that we can slip a 5/16 fuel line over that thing when we put a barb on it. So you know, we'll flare the end of it, that'll act as a barb, and then we'll slide it in there. So that is what's happening right now. So I'm gonna try, rather than cutting it with a bolt cutter, which I don't love the idea of, we're gonna try and cut it, because it still has gas in it too, with one of these line cutters. Only trouble is, it's pretty damn tight right here. So I might have to remove this rubber line so that it'll swing around. First,
Just do it that way.
remove the air box. This is hilarious. You ever seen this before? Pop out. Honda and their hilarious air boxes. So, that's like the Snorkus. Alright. It's like our filter's a little beat. Alright. So go. Nice. Now comes the drain back. Alright, so we got the line out. Or clipped rather. Cut. So we'll probably just try and disconnect it down here at the base. This fitting, hopefully that bolt doesn't, or the nut doesn't strip out. Awesome. Actually bolt rated, which surprises the hell out of me.
I think it's a double flare.
This will be really easy to do.
Alright, so we found out that our feed line was leaking, and instead of replacing it with steel and trying to bend it and get it to fit and all that, we're just going to run a rubber line. So we have 15 feet here. So this is the pressure fitting that came off the fuel pump, and we're just simply going to slide the line onto it, clamp it down, install it, and start slowly running it forward. And once we get it forward, we're going to actually flare the end of the original line that we cut off and slide the line over that and just clamp it into place. This will work on this car because there's not that much fuel pressure, but if you're running a V8 or something like that, don't do this. Do it the right way, but for us, it'll be just fine. Should be good. Should be. Yep, keep going.
As far as I think it would.
Okay. Come on, there we go. That's good. That's
Okay, so now we're on to the step where we're gonna flare the fuel line. And so, you're probably wondering why we're going to the trouble of actually flaring the line. And the reason for that is normally you would have a barb fitting that you'd be sliding the fuel line over, kind of like we showed you guys how we did the back, where we took that whole, I think it's nylon line that's almost kind of shrink tubed onto the fitting that goes to the fuel tank, fuel feed. So we cut that off, and there was actually like a barb underneath it, so we slid the hose over that, clamped it down, worked really good. So on this end, just to make sure that we've got something that's going to kind of keep the line from blowing off once pressure is actually in the system, we're going to add a little bit of a flare to the end of it so that it doesn't do that. So the clamp is going to hold things nice and tight, and then that little barbed section is going to keep it from bursting off of it. To do that, we're just going to use a flaring tool. You can pick these up anywhere. I'm pretty sure this is a Harbor Freight one, so I'll own that fact. And what we're doing is we're just going to do a very simple flare on the tip of the thing. And then you just rotate this dealio. It might be time for a new one of these kits. I think it's starting to get a little haggard. Okay, so we've got a decent little flare. Nothing too special, just enough to kind of push outward against the line that's sliding onto it, and it'll help kind of keep, once the clamp is on it, keep it from bursting off of there. So there we go, very simple. Operation Tetanus. Well, leaky tetanus.
Okay, I'll check up here. I don't think so. No, it's dry.
No fluid coming out of the back of it. You can feel the pump kind of kicking on and everything, so I think we're good. This thing's gonna leak. We gotta figure out if it's gonna leak before we call it a day. Oh, I forgot that I rolled the seat way back.
But you push. Is it neutral?
Yeah. Looks pretty good to me.
Good?
Yep. Don't see any leaks.
Hey! You fixed it! Still makes all the power.
105 horses. Stinks terribly.
We're out of
No
time,
leaks. No leaks.
I did live down there for like 13 or 14 years. Whatever.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Oh, hi.
Oh, hi. Thank you, and welcome to another episode.
Greetings and salutations.
Welcome to the end of the episode.
I feel like we're doing a really cheesy PBS show.
Yeah. Or like NPR. Like, we're like, welcome to another episode of...
One of us needs to walk through the door and switch shoes and put on like a sweater.
Oh man, I'm not cool enough to do a Mr. Rogers impression. That man is the bomb. All right, well, hey, thanks for joining us through this episode, and hopefully you guys got a kick out of it. So we've tackled the fuel issue. That was
leaks gas.
Insurmountable, but it's been mounted.
Yeah, it's
surmounted.
It's not a fire hazard anymore. It's safe to work on.
It is, yeah. We can finally weld on this thing and not have fear of explosions. I still have explosions, but...
Speaking of explosions, we looked at the damage to see what exactly happened.
Yeah.
And kind of get a game plan of moving forward or what all needs to get done.
Yeah.
Which is a lot.
There's quite a bit to do, definitely. And that rear end is pretty abused. So we need to try and straighten that material out, which you guys will see later on when we try and tackle that, which we haven't figured out the way that we're going to do it. We maybe will do a frame rack. We'll maybe do a tug of war with this in a truck or
find out.
Something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But so we've tackled swapping the door.
Yep. We got the door. We got the damage looked at.
Yep.
Got the fuel line taken care of.
And we tore off that horrible trunk.
Oh yeah, thankfully.
Yeah, and got to look at what ugliness slide beneath that.
Kind of poked around the interior a little bit and got some ideas for a cage.
And found such a moldy carpet. It's so nasty. We might actually end up having to tear that out and then throwing some kind of, I don't know, maybe we do that
Deadline.
indoor-outdoor carpet, that green fluffy
Put a
stuff.
little red flag in the back of it, like a golf course.
Yeah, we should just drill a hole in the middle of it, and then we can have that like a teacup in there, so we can do that in the back. And then we could go ice fishing through the hole. Yeah. No, we're not going to do any of that.
Yeah, neither one of us like golf.
No, not at all. So, thank you very much for joining us on this ridiculous episode.
Yeah.
And next episode, expect to see a little bit of welding and fabrication.
Yep.
And
Gonna start with some bumpers.
hit some things with hammers. And
Take some things apart.
heck yeah.
So,
Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you guys next
time.
time. It's a little less like soupy sounding though. Something that's kind of a lotiony consistency. Alright. Hey, what's happening, guys? I don't need to start with that because we're in the middle of the episode. So I don't need to start with that. Now, on to the step of flaring the brake line. You normally flare brake a lot. Oh my god, did I f***ing stroke? Like, what the... We good? We good?
Are you?
I'm not.
I'm fine.
I am not okay. Clearly, because both of these wing nuts are broken off. Do they both just have one nut? No, I just break my nuts off. But in this case, I still have two because I had four.